What's up, y'all? I'm out here on Beaver Lake. It is the first cold front, real cold front of the year. It's Labor Day weekend. It's actually Labor Day. And I'm out here to do a little fishing. It got me to thinking, what are my favorite baits when it starts cooling down and for the fall? So we're going to get into this. I'm going to show you my top 5 baits for fall. And bonus, you don't need live scope for any of these. This is old school cover water fishing. All these baits are a lot of fun, reaction baits. So let's get into it. So in no particular order, maybe apart from the number 1 on this category, because it's my favorite way to catch them, we'll get into my top 5 favorite baits for fall. So there's no better way to catch fish any time of year than on a topwater, and fall is a great time to catch them. It's all about bait getting in the back of these creeks. So 1 and 1A on this list are a whopper plopper or Chapo style bait. And why I say 1A and 1B, I'm also going to throw a buzz bait on there. Both very similar, and what they do is just cast and wind style baits. And depending on where you're at, I'm up here in the Ozarks on Beaver Lake. I'm going to throw the plopper and Chapo a lot because there's not a lot of grass on the bank. If I had a lot of more bank grass, a lot more vegetation, we'd go with a buzz bait. In the fall, we're talking about smaller bait fish. So I'm going to throw the 105 or 110 size or smaller in the Chapo or whopper plopper. And if we're talking about a buzz bait, I'm looking at a 1/4 ounce to 3/8 ounce max. Sometimes I'll even go down to little 1/8 ounce buzz baits in the fall. Love a good topwater blow up. And there's nothing better to cover water with than a buzz bait or a Chapo running down the banks on these cool fall days. Next up on the list, if we're talking about covering water, running banks, especially here in the Ozarks, a lot of rocks, chunk rock, wood along the banks. Hard to beat a square bill in the fall. This is an Excite Baits XB1. And then if it's a tough day or conditions are tough, you can go with the Berkley Fritside. Love both of these. Fritside might be a Fritside 5 might be my favorite square bill crankbait of all time. It works in the spring, summer, works all the time, but when conditions are tough, Fritside's coming out of the box, and frankly, I use the Fritside a lot even when conditions are good. It just gets bites. But square bill crankbait, you can bounce it off cover a lot of water without getting hung up, and it mimics what we're talking about. We're talking about bait fish in the fall, small bait fish moving to the back of the creeks, and look at that. That's tiny bait fish profile, getting a reaction out of those fish in this cool fall weather. One of my all-time favorite baits, especially if it's a little bit windy, which you're going to get some of that with these fronts blowing in and out in the fall, is a spinnerbait. Spinnerbait was kind of a forgotten bait when the chatterbait came on the scene, or after the chatterbait came on the scene, but it seems like the last couple of years, even on the pro level, the spinnerbait has made a big comeback. But the spinnerbait's great. It's great around everything, wood, vegetation, whatever. You can vary the retrieve, you can burn it, you can slow roll it, you can pump it, kill it, whatever you want to do with the spinnerbait. Very versatile bait. Old school, been around forever. But in the fall, when the bait fish are moving to the backs and the fish are chasing them, hard to beat throwing a spinnerbait. And I like throwing more compact baits in the fall. And if you can get a spinnerbait with the weight built onto the hook, like this is a 1/2 ounce spinnerbait, but it's in a very compact size with smaller blades. That's what you want with those smaller bait fish moving around in the fall of the year. Right behind the spinnerbait, chatterbait. Very similar in how you fish it. You can burn it, you can vary your retrieve, pump it, kill it. But chatterbait is just a fish catcher, especially if you have vegetation around, but it'll work anywhere. I've fished it down bluff lines and caught fish. Just a great versatile bait that gets bites. This is just a 1/2 ounce jackhammer, but in the fall, you may consider moving to the mini backs. I love throwing the mini backs. I just started throwing it about, I didn't adopt right when it came out, but I've been throwing it for the last 1.5 years or so, pretty regular. And the mini max in the fall is a killer just because of, once again, that smaller bait fish profile. Just gets you a lot of bites. Tournaments have kind of wound down in the fall, so if you're not worried about catching big ones all the time and you just want to get a lot of bites, pull out that mini max and you'll have a fun day. And this bait's a 12-month of the year kind of bait, but it really comes back to life in the fall, and I change up the size a little bit. But the jerk bait, I mean, it's a staple of early pre-spawn and springtime, of course, but it works all year round. And in the fall, I like to switch to a smaller. This is a Vision 110 Junior, so slightly smaller profile, because like I said, the bait fish in the fall are a little bit smaller, so you can get a lot more bites throwing a smaller jerk bait around down sloped banks, down bluff walls, and chase those bass as they chase those bait fish back into the creeks. Now that's my top 5, but I'm gonna throw in one bonus bait that works 12 months of the year, 365 days a year, and that is a jig. I'm gonna have a jig tied on, whether it's fall, spring, summer, or whatever. But in the fall, I'll go to this compact flipping jig. This is a Dirty Jigs compact flipping jig. because as you're covering water and going down those banks, you're going to come across laydowns and trees, and there may be bass laying on those pieces of cover waiting to ambush those big balls of bait fish as they move to the back. So as you're running banks with these fast moving baits that I just mentioned, I think it was G-Man, Gerald Swindell, that said, no matter what time of year, always have a jig on deck. I agree. So always have a little jig on deck so that you can pick apart a piece of cover as you're getting back to the back end of that creek chasing those bass. So there you have it, y'all. That's my top 5 plus a little bonus bait. There's more you could throw on there. There's swim baits, glide baits, all kinds of things you can put on there, underspins. But those are my top 5. I'd love to know some others that are your fall favorites. Put them in the comments and I'll check them out. Appreciate you watching the video. We'll catch you on the next one.